Home Alone 4 Taking Back the House. Now that name alone should make you cringe endlessly. And quite frankly, I am extremely unenthusiastic about this review because I caught this film on DVD ever since I was 13 years old. And what did I get? A huge mound of shit. Everything about it was just so stupid that it practically made my brain rot. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's get on with the review. This film was directed by Rod Daniel, who was also the director of a very well-known, cheesy, campy teen cult classic called Teen Wolf, which starred Michael J. Fox. However, he then proceeded to direct other mediocre to extremely shitty films that also happened to be box office bombs. It was produced by French Adams. It was written by Deborah Frank and Steve L. Hayes, and it starred Mike Weinberg, French Stewart, Missy Pyle, Jason Bega, Eric Avery, Barbara Babcock, Joanna Going, and Claire Carey. Now, looking back at this film, it's pretty much scarred me for life. Because, for a lot of things, this doesn't even deserve to be called Home Alone. Words cannot really describe of just how idiotic this film is, and how it managed to stray away from the original source material to the point where it doesn't really start feeling like a Home Alone film. It just feels like a separate entity full of crap and full of nutsackery in between as well. So, yes, I'm really starting to go on to rant territory right now, so let's just get the technical things out of the way first. Now, story-wise, I could hardly care about the story. There is no charm to it. There is nothing that makes the original two Home Alone movies have that charm and have that plausibility. Everything about it just feels so dumb. It just feels so watered down. It just feels so soulless. Like I said, this is nothing but a cheap cash grab in the form of a TV movie. This has no plot, no redeeming story whatsoever, and I can't really relate to all of the characters who have really downgraded in this film. And speaking of which, where on God's name are the likes of Heather, Tracy, Sandra, Brooke, Fuller, Uncle Frank, Aunt Leslie, Lenny, and Jeff? Where the hell are those characters? You know, for a film that has the name Home Alone in it, it only featured 2 out of 4 of Kevin's older siblings, that of Buzz and Megan, which I'll get to later in this film. So quite frankly, everything about this is just so disappointing. And I haven't even talked about the characters yet. So quite frankly, the story has no tension whatsoever. And when Kevin, this incarnation of Kevin, puts the pranks on, I didn't laugh. I just rolled my eyes and just wondered, wow, these pranks, these booby traps are nothing. They are nothing. They have no sense of danger. They have no sense of tension. They have no sense of comedy whatsoever. There's nothing. And the cinematography is okay, I'll give it that, but just because you have okay cinematography doesn't mean that your film is gonna be that any better. The music is just meh in general. I can't really stand the pop remixes of Jingle Bells and all those type of things. I mean, I'm okay with certain remixes, but with this movie's version, I just couldn't stand it. I practically couldn't stand it. The characters had the hugest downgrade for me. Now, for those of you who've watched Home Alone 1 and 2, you'll automatically realize that Kevin in those 2 movies was basically a smart, snarky, very capable boy who at times, though can be very afraid, actually has some heart. And yes, he can be mischievous, but he's still a well-meaning kid. This incarnation of Kevin in Home Alone 4 is nothing but a whiny little dipshit. He has no charm. He has no wit. He has no snark that makes the original Kevin fantastic. He's just simply put a whiny little bitch who doesn't even deserve to be called Kevin. Or even, he doesn't even deserve to be called Kevin McAllister at all. Now, Buzz in this movie, people can say about how much of a big dickwad Buzz is in Home Alone 1 and 2. But in this movie, he's just bland. He's just bland as a character. I just couldn't care for him. Megan, how could she turn into a very level-headed and very smart yet very sarcastic young girl and be degraded into such a prima donna? How? I would really hate to see how the other siblings would be downgraded into certain character traits that seem to deviate from how the original characters were back then. Just to see her character downgrade is just a pain. The biggest downgrade for me definitely has to be the relationship between Kevin's parents. Now, in this film, they are divorced. Why? Just why? And Peter has a girlfriend, and it makes me wonder, why? Why? Where did this come from? Where the hell did this divorce thing come from between Peter and Kate? Where? And speaking about Kate, now Kate in the original 2 movies was basically, even though stern and feels that Kevin is a troublemaker, she genuinely cares for him and is willing to go out of her way to save him, to be reunited with him. Here, I could hardly care about this about this incarnation of Kate. She's just basically a bland mom. That's it. I could hardly care about Peter. And what did they do to Marv in this movie? They just turned Marv from a lovable idiot into someone who screams incessantly. And don't get me started on his girlfriend. Where the hell did she come from? I mean, yes. It seems as though she's like a replacement for Harry, albeit a lot more of a prima donna. And the twist. Do not get me started on the twist. Do not get me started on the twist of this damned movie. It is complete bullshit. So yes, all the characters are definitely bland and uninspired and have mercilessly, mercilessly been downgraded so damn horribly. And the acting is atrocious. I could not stand Claire Carey as Kate. She did not have the charisma, the vivacity, the vibrance, the everything that made Catherine O'Hara very memorable in that role. Jason Bega as Peter, I could care less about him. I saw this actor as a cop in Thelma and Louise, and I really liked that scene with him. With him playing Peter, I felt nothing. I definitely felt nothing at all. And I didn't really like the 2 kids that played Buzz and Megan. They were just horrible. Mike Weinberg did not have all the facets that made Kevin such a great character, or a great kid character. He had none of the snark, none of the charm, none of the badassedness. I think this all had to do with bad direction, because it's clear that Rod Daniel never saw the original Home Alone, or even the sequel for that matter. He just didn't care. He just wanted to make a cheap cash grabbing so that, well, he can get a lot of money. Well, guess where it's headed at, mister? So yeah, Mike Weinberg as Kevin was just horrible. Completely horrible and completely lifeless. Well, that's Home Alone 4 for you. It's nothing but a huge pile of nutsackery. It is simply put crap incarnate. And I would recommend that this film get thrown to the sun and get burnt and never see the light of day again. And it's very obvious of the rating I'm going to give this film. A huge 0 out of 5. If you are a hardcore Home Alone fan, please stay away from this film as far as possible. And do not get me started on Home Alone 5. I could hardly care about that film. Just let me have my Home Alone 1 and 2 and call it a damn day. Wow. That was definitely a lot of ranting here. It looks like I need to review something good for a change, but I don't know what. Maybe we'll see. Until then, this is Tony signing off, and I hope you all have a happy holidays.